Out the back way.
You're going through that door.
Running fast.
Go! Don't these fellows look familiar?
Our friends from the border. Milt and Pedro. Where's McLeod?
I don't know. These are the people who wait for people outside the doors. Kind of makes you wonder about that door, doesn't it?
You're learning, Mississippi. Any particular reason why you want us to go out that way?
Oh, no, senor. The man who went out that door.
Pedro's telling the truth.
You better be, because you're both going out that door. You first, Milt.
No.
Come on, Milt.
No, please.
Not that way. I'm tired of being taken for a fool. Move! Come on, move!
Please.
On your way.
No. All right. There's somebody out there.
I know.
Quiet. I'll go.
You sure will.
Don't shoot. It's moved. Don't shoot.
All right, Pedro, it's your turn.
No,
You're next.
please.
Move.
Please.
Come on, Pedro, move. Oh. My right name is Marion Michael Morrison, and the studio decided that it was not American enough for a boy who was going to play Breckenridge Coleman in the Big Trail back in 1929. So the studio heads were put together, and they came up with the name John Wayne. But long before I had the name John Wayne, I was going to school in Glendale, and I had a dog named Duke. And the dog would follow me as far as the fire station on the way to school in the morning and wait at the fire station for me to return in the evening. And the firemen all knew the dog's name, but they didn't know mine. So they called the dog Big Duke and me Little Duke. That was a few years ago.
What did you study at Glendale?
Well, at Glendale High School, it was just, in Glendale, it was just grammar school and high school.
And then at
I went
college?
to the University of Southern California. I took 3 legal courses.
Did you ever intend to be a lawyer?
Yes, I think I would have enjoyed the occupation, but while I was going to school, I was offered a job in the summertime working at the studios. I met Mr. John Ford, and I enjoyed working with him and watching him mold the scene and meld the people to the scene. And then I'd go back to school and look around at these kids, and I'd say, well, this kid's father is a lawyer. This kid's uncle is an established lawyer. And they're going into those offices. And one of them will take me in, and I'll be writing briefs in the back room for 10 or 15 years. And it didn't look quite as appealing or as exciting as pictures. So when I was offered the acting job, I accepted it, never realizing that it would end up a career, but seeing it might establish me so that I could get into the production and finally direct, which I wanted to do.
Why was it cowboy films in particular that interested you?
Well, it wasn't a case of what it interested me. It was a case of that which I fit in best. I was of 6'4", which is a fairly tall man at the time in pictures, and all the leading ladies are small, so I, you're all bent over like this to those leading ladies. So I fit the background of Westerns better. And in those days, they needed, they didn't spend quite as much money on doubles and things as they do today, and they expected you to be rugged enough to do a little of this stuff. So I fit that category. So I guess that's why I got started in it.
Have you seen any of the films? You made those early films. Have you seen any of them recently?
I try not to see them.
I saw one, Sagebrush Trail, the other day.
My.
Can you remember anything about it?
No, I can't.
I saw where that one came from, Chief.
Your eyes are kind of going back on you, ain't they, Jones?
Oh, no, they aren't. That's put him away.
Now he's talking this down. You better teach that dude to mind his own business, or we'll be needing another cook.
How are you, partner?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'll sure be glad to get out of this place.
You better wait a while yet, partner. We've got a tough job to do. We're picking up the 3 o'clock stage down by the bend, and it ain't no place for invalids. Well, I'm glad to see you're coming along all right. Well, so long. I'll be seeing you.
Down by the bend, eh? Yes, you'll be seeing me. I remember the name Sagebrush Trail, Singing Sandy. I was the first singing cowboy, actually. At least 2 others in my shop. The fellow that sang over here and the fellow that played the guitar over here, and me mouthing the words and hitting these phony strings on the guitar. And I got a little tired of doing this in pictures. You know, you had to go by guitar trees and find the guitar right in the middle of the chase. And kids started asking me to sing when I made appearances in studios and theaters. So I went to the boss and said, I've had it as far as the singing is concerned. So he went out and got the top hillbilly singer at the time and brought him in and started making pictures with him, and that was Gene Autry. That was how his career started.
What sort of a shot are you?
Well, I don't think I could hit the big red barn with a pistol, but I can shoot a rifle and a shotgun pretty well.
Is it actually possible to determine how fast people are on the draw?
Well, there was a fellow named Colonel Tim McCoy that was quite a star in his day in American motion pictures. And I saw film clips where they ran film at 18 frames per second to make it look fast. And he drew his gun and shot in 3 frames. That's what? 6 3s or 18. Or in 6 frames, pardon me. It was a third of a second in 6 frames. And that's fairly fast. And this fella could hit what he was shooting at. One time I was playing in a scene with Tim. And if you were the heavy, and I'm here, and Tim McCoy is on my right, the camera was over here. My gun was hanging down over my right hip. And in the scene, he was so fast that he always let the other fella draw first, and then he'd whip it out. And he was quite proud of this. So while they were playing the scene, I just sneaked my gun out. The camera couldn't see it. I sneaked my gun out of the holster and had it hanging down by my knee on this side, and as the fellow moved, I went like that, and Tim went and looked off here and saw this gun out. He couldn't believe it. Well, we took that scene over.
Stagecoach is always considered the turning point in your career.
Yes,
Why?
it certainly was. Well, it was the first time that I was able to be a part of a picture in which the reaction became important. You know, they say action pictures and a picture. But in these action pictures that we made earlier, you had to explain the story, tell where you were going, explain, the heavies are going to Oshkosh, so we'll cut across Red Gulch and meet them ahead of time. Then you'd ride out and you'd say, well, this is Red Gulch, and then they'd say, oh, there they come now. And you never had a reaction to any situation. It was just all action, and nobody has a chance to get much of their personality into a picture under those conditions. But in Stagecoach, the story was told with a camera rather than by the mouthing of the leading man.
You oughtn't to go too far, Miss Dallas. Apaches like to sneak up and pick off strays. You, visiting in Lordsburg?
No, I have friends there. And maybe I can find work. Look, kid, why don't you try to escape? Why don't you get away?
I aim to. In Lordsburg.
Why Lordsburg? Why don't you make for the border now?
My father and brother were shot down by the plumber boy. Guess you don't know how it feels to lose your own folks that way.
I lost mine when I was a kid. It was a massacre on Superstition Mountain.
Tough. Especially on a girl.
Well, you gotta live no matter what happens.
That's it. Look, Miss Dallas, you got no folks. Neither have I. And, well, maybe I'm taking a lot for granted, but I watched you with that baby, that other woman's baby. You look, well, I still got a ranch across the border. And it's a nice place, a real nice place. Trees, grass, water. There's a cabin half built. A man could live there. And a woman. Will you go?
But you don't know me. You don't know who I am.
I know all I want to know. Will you go?
Oh, don't talk like that.
What are you doing out here, kid? Stick close to the reservation.
I wanted naturally to be a virile American man on the screen and certainly have healthy and lusty scenes with ladies. But that really wasn't in my mind while I was making the picture. I was so happy to be in a picture with the consideration that was given to the story and to the people in it.
In The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Donovan and Stoddart are symbolic of the Old West and the New West. Do you think you made Donovan too sympathetic?
I assure you that John Ford is very careful in handling his actors to make sure that no matter what they do, that it helps to create an emotion in the audience. Because after all, good pictures are about people. And if he can get the right emotions out of his actors, it's naturally going to affect the audience.
Elder! Where are you going?
I'm going home, Tom. I'm going back east where I belong.
Valance couldn't make you run away. What is it now, Pilgrim? Your conscience?
Isn't it enough to kill a man without trying to build a life on it?
You talk too much. Think too much. Besides, you didn't kill Liberty Valance.
What?
Think back, Pilgrim. Valance came out of the saloon. You were walking toward him when he fired his first shot. Remember?
This time, right between the eyes.
But, Tom, why did you do it? Why?
Cold-blooded murder. But I can live with it. Callie's happy. She wanted you alive.
But you saved my life.
I wish I hadn't. Callie's your girl now. Go on back in there and take that nomination. You taught her how to read and write. Now give her something to read and write about.
Coming right up to date, when you read Charles Porter's book, True Grit, I believe you wanted to buy the rights and film it yourself.
Yes. I offered quite a bit of money. We read it in Galley, and we approached the author through his agent, and it took me a long time to find out that the author hadn't particularly cared about me playing the part of Rooster Cogburn in the picture.
A lot of other people have.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody called me and said, was the part that just fits you, except the author.
Would you
But anyway, I drove the price up for him. He made a lot more money because I wanted to play it.
Did he thank you for it?
Not a bit.
Did you intend self-parody in your characterization of Rooster Cogburn?
I don't think it was self-parody. I think it was... the lines had a Mark Twain flavor to them, which is kind of cynical and parody writing on the part of Mark Twain in the old days. So I didn't feel that I was making a parody of the character of John Wayne. I was enjoying the humor that was in the lines. But I had no idea of belittling or laughing at the John Wayne character. My deal?
Yes, sir.
What about my proposition?
Thinking on it.
Sounds like a mighty easy way to make $50 to me.
Don't crowd me. I'm figuring expenses.
Don't see how you can play cards and drink whiskey and think of this detective business all at the same time.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I have to go up against Ned Pepper, it'll cost $100. I figured that much out, and $50 in advance.
You're trying to take advantage of me.
I'm giving you my children's rates. Isn't going to be easy smoking old Ned out. He'll be holed up down that Indian nation.
Well, I hope you don't think I'm going to keep you in whiskey.
I don't buy that. I confiscate it. And a touch of it wouldn't do you any harm against the night air.
No, thank you.
Well, it's a real article, genuine double-rectified busthead, aged in a keg.
I would not put a thief in my mouth to steal my brains.
Well, sis, my price is $100. There it is. You want to make medicine?
I will think about your proposition and talk to you again. Now, I want to go to the Mornock boarding house. You better walk me over there.
You are a lot of trouble. Wait till I finish this hand. You can never tell what's in a Chinaman's mind. That's the way he bests you at cards.
I go.
Mr. Rat, I have a writ here that says you're to stop eating Chenley's cornmeal forthwith. Now, it's a rat writ for a rat, and this is lawful service of the same. See? Doesn't pay any attention to me.
Outside, it's place for shooting.
I'm serving some papers. It just set my pistol apart. There was hardly any way I could blow that one.
You must be offered a lot of parts. What determines you in choosing a particular one?
Personal story, as a rule. Sometimes you're stuck, and it's getting time for an assignment to come up, and you accept stories that are not completed. But as a rule, whenever that happens, you run into a mess. But I haven't learned my lesson completely yet. I still do it on occasion.
What parts would you downright refuse?
Anything mean and petty. I think I've established a character on the screen that may be rough, may be cruel, may have a different code than the average person, but it's never been mean or petty or small.
You made your debut as a director with The Alamo, and then you directed The Green Berets. Was that intended as a propaganda film?
Well, actually, we couldn't show all the things that we would like to have shown about what happened to those poor South Vietnamese people. We tried to sketchily show the world that the communist guerrillas were, they had no care for human life, and torture and rape, and mention it. Those people have suffered that over there.
Do you think the film helped the war effort?
I think it helped say a lot of things that a lot of the great silent American public would like to have had said. That, our side is not as articulate as the other side. And quite obviously, the press takes the provocative point of view. They say, that there are 70 House of Representatives and 12 senators that back the moratorium. But they could word that a little different and say 456 men in the House of Representatives do not back it, and 90 senators do not back it. They could say it that way, but they don't. They say it the other way. Everything is pointed to give the people a feeling that that this is the opinion of the country, which I do not think it is.
Medic!
What happened?
It's Dockham junk. He's going to be all right.
Peter, son?
There's none of them up in here, Sonny. This is one job I don't envy you, Colonel.
Peter, son! Peter, son!
ham chunk. You always knew it could happen, didn't you?
But I didn't want it to.
None of us did.
Was my Peter son brave?
He was very brave. Are you going to be?
I'll try.
I know you will. And I'm sure that your Peter's son would want you to have that.
What will happen to me now?
You let me worry about that, Green Beret. You're what this is all about.
Back at home, a young white flame. Her green beret has had his fame. He has died for home of friend. He returns his last request.
I don't know what the liberals expect these poor people to do. I just cannot figure it out. We went to war in Germany because of the things that were being done to the Jews and to freedom, and I think we owed these people the same thing. I'm not against Russians or Chinese. I'm against a system called communism.
Do you think it's right for actors to be vociferous in politics?
I am a citizen of the United States of America, and everything I can do to keep this country running with freedom and liberty and even the permissiveness that we allow our children. I think I have a perfect right to say anything I wish, if people will listen.
A great American, John Wayne. This is the party that cares. Good old American expression, I think this is the party that gives a damn. Dean Martin once asked me what I wanted for my baby daughter. And I realize now that my answer was a kind of a attitude toward my country. Well, he asked me this on election day, and the bars were closed anyway, so he had a lot of time to listen, and I told him that I wanted for my daughter Marisa what most parents want for their children. I wanted to stick around long enough to see that she got a good start. I'd like to have her know some of the values that we knew as kids, some of the values that an articulate few now are saying are old-fashioned. But most of all, I want her to be grateful, as I am grateful for every day of my life that I spent in the United States of America.
I really don't like politics. I only get mixed up in them to help voice the other side.
By your acting, you've achieved a wide fame. Are you conscious of it? Do you meet it every day?
Well, it's hard to have any privacy, but I've grown to realize that that's a part of being in the business I'm in, and I love people, so it doesn't bother me too much.
They don't want to pick fights with you or anything like that?
No, they seldom do that. But it's usually the other way. You go into a strange place and you see a friendly smile, somebody says hello, walk on by, and then you can see them make a quick turn. They say, where do I know that fella from? You get that reaction. But it's usually friendly, even among the liberals.
In 1964, at the age of 57, you learned you had cancer. Were you frightened?
I should say I was frightened. When the man says you have the big C, it's almost like telling you you're terminal, and imagine 1 out of 20 people survive after the operation, if you catch it in time, as they did mine. because I did have checkups, well, you have a chance. That's why I allowed them to use my name and told the public that I had cancer so they would know that with checkups they could survive cancer.
Were you frightened of death, did you find?
Well, I don't know. I was more or less willing to accept it, and I was wondering how I was going to tell my wife and my kids and Hal Wallace, not George Wallace, that he would have to postpone a picture until I got this thing yanked out of me. But it all turned out all right, thank God.
You're 62 now. You've lost a lung. Why do you keep making such energetic pictures?
I love them. What else?
Someday, Mama will be here. And my brother Little Frank and his family over there. And that is for my sister Veronica and her family. And I will be here, on the other side of Papa. I think it's comforting to know where one will meet eternity, don't you? I would like you to rest beside me, Rooster.
Now, sis, that place should be for your family, your husband, kids.
You have no kin. I do not count Chinley and the cat. Now, where else would you end up? In some neglected patch of weeds?
Well, now I might just take you up on that offer, sis. If you'll excuse me if I don't try to move in too soon.
I think it's only right that you have Papa's gun. It might keep you alive.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. Almost got you killed when it misfired once.
That's because you loaded it wrong when you were in a state of drunkenness.
Well, then I suppose I ought to get you to show me how.
I will. Trust you to buy another tall horse.
Yeah. He's not as game as Bo, but Stonehill says he can jump a 4-rail fence.
You're too old and too fat to be jumping horses.
Well, come to see a fat old man sometime. Yeah!